ing is a topic that causes a lot of confusion, especially to Spanish speakers, because as Spanish speakers, we tend to think that ing is always the equivalent of verbs ending in ando, endo, and yendo in Spanish. And that is true sometimes, yes, because ing can be, in fact, the equivalent of these verbs ending in ando, endo, and yendo in Spanish, but ing in English has more uses. So it can be used as a verb, as you well know already, but it can also be used as a noun. And when it's working as a noun, it has several different uses. We're going to see that in a minute. And it can also be used as an adjective. So the idea of this video is to explore these three uses in detail so that you feel confident using ing yourself, so that you can use ing more naturally and effectively in your English speaking and writing. Let's get started. ing as a verb. When ing is used as a verb, it's part of a continuous tense. Continuous tenses are those tenses that we use to talk about what's happening now or over a period of time around now, around the moment of speaking. So when ing is working as a verb, it's always accompanied by the verb to be. So you have the verb to be and the verb with ing. Let's see some examples. I am reading a book. So you see the verb to be there is am. I am reading a book. In Spanish, we would say, estoy leyendo un libro. She was watching TV when I called her. Estaba viendo la tele cuando la llamé. They will be waiting for us at the restaurant. Nos estarán esperando en el restaurante. In this case, as you can see, ing in English is the equivalent of verbs ending in ando, endo, and yendo in Spanish. So far, so good. But there are some cases in which this isn't the case. Let's see. When ing is working as a noun, it's called a gerund. And it can have different functions when it's working as a noun. It can be the subject of a sentence, the object. It can be used after prepositions, after phrasal verbs, and after fixed expressions. So let's see what happens when ing is working as the subject of the sentence. Have a look at these examples. Swimming is my favorite sport. In Spanish, we would say, nadar es mi deporte favorito. Jogging in the park is a good way to stay fit. Correr por el parque es una buena forma de mantenerse en forma. Learning English is essential for many jobs. Aprender inglés es esencial para muchos trabajos. As you can see, here in English we're using an ing form, but in Spanish, what do we use? We use the infinitive. We don't say nadando es mi deporte favorito, or corriendo por el parque, or aprendiendo inglés. No. We say nadar, correr, aprender. So we use the infinitive in Spanish, not the ing form or forms with ando, endo, and yendo. After some verbs, such as like, love, enjoy, and prefer, ing works as an object. Let's have a look at some sentences. I love swimming in the sea. In Spanish, we would say, me encanta nadar en el mar. She likes playing the guitar. Le gusta tocar la guitarra. They enjoy working from home. Les gusta trabajar desde casa. As you can see, here again, we use the ing form in English, but in Spanish, we use, what do we use? We use the infinitive, not forms ending in ando, endo, and yendo. After prepositions, we use ing. Let's have a look at some examples. He's good at playing chess. In Spanish, we would say, es bueno jugando al ajedrez. We talked about going to the cinema. Hablamos de ir al cine. She's interested in studying abroad. Está interesada en estudiar en el extranjero. What happens here? Well, in the first example, es bueno jugando al ajedrez, we use a verb with ando in Spanish, yes. But not in the other cases. Hablamos de ir al cine, está interesada en estudiar en el extranjero. So don't assume that because in English we use ing, in Spanish we necessarily have to use ando, endo, or yendo, because as you can see from these examples, sometimes we do, but sometimes we just don't. after phrasal verbs, we use ing. I gave up smoking 2 years ago. Dejé de fumar hace 2 años. They are looking forward to seeing you. Están deseando verte. He ended up losing the game. Acabó perdiendo el partido. So what happens in these cases? Well, ing can be the equivalent of a verb ending in ando, endo, or yendo in Spanish, as you can see in the last example. He ended up losing the game. Acabó perdiendo el partido. But this is not the case in the other 2 sentences. So again, don't assume because in English we use an ing form, we have to use a form with ando, endo, and yendo in Spanish. After some fixed expressions, for example, feel like, can't help, can't stand, we need ing. Let's have a look at some examples. I feel like eating pizza tonight. Esta noche tengo ganas de comer pizza. She can't stand waiting in line. No soporta hacer cola. They can't help laughing at his jokes. No pueden evitar reírse de sus chistes. So, as you can see, in Spanish we say comer, not comiendo, hacer, not haciendo, and reírse, not riendo. So don't assume that because you see ing in the English sentence, that means ando, endo, or yendo in Spanish. It's not like tengo ganas de comiendo pizza. It doesn't make any sense, okay? So don't assume that because you see ing there, it's ando, endo, or yendo. I will say that 1,000 times if it's necessary, but I want you to remember. When ing is working as an adjective, it's called present participle. And as any other adjective, what it does is modify a noun. Let's have a look at some examples. The conference was so boring, it put me to sleep. La conferencia fue tan aburrida que me hizo dormir. I have some anxiety news. Tengo noticias emocionantes. The frightening movie gave me nightmares. La película aterradora me dio pesadillas. As you can see, we don't use gerunds ending in ando, endo, and yendo in Spanish. We just use adjectives. So remember, ing can be a verb when it's part of a continuous tense, but it's not only and always a verb. It can also be a noun, and it can also be an adjective. I hope this video has been clear, that it has helped you better understand how to use ing, and that from now on you dare to use it confidently and hopefully effectively in English. Okay, see you next time. Bye!